Hi, I'm Jean Sperry, and I just wanted to give you a quick little update on our head lice policy. We looked around and in the community and found that a lot of the schools are moving away from a no-nit policy, and we wanted to reflect that. So we took a good look at things, looked at the different sources of American Academy of Pediatrics and the American Association of School Nurses. Came up with a simple little tool that maybe will make sense to you. Just remember that live lice in the classroom are still not permitted, but nits alone are. So live lice, no dice. But nits can stay till the end of the day. Some things to keep in mind, head lice do not survive off the head more than 24 hours. According to the CDC, they're just there for 1 or 2 days until they run out of food, basically. Head lice can survive on the human host about 30 days. That's with perfect conditions. But they can't survive more than 24 hours off the host. So when we think about head lice in the carpet, head lice in the couch, in the beds and so forth, just keep in mind that they cannot breed independent of the scalp. It's just not possible. So bottom line, just remember head lice need 2 things to survive. They need air and they need meals, blood. And if they have either one of those cut off, they die. And that's all I have to say about that. Live lice, no dice. But nits can stay to the end of the day.
Even in your region, which is a fairly tight-knit region, you guys meet a lot. Do you see variability from classroom to classroom where some teachers check more than others? And
yeah, some teachers are really on top of it and kind of, really worried about lice in the classroom, and other teachers, aren't, but
Don't think about it as often.
yeah, but
do you see a difference in spread based on that behavior?
I don't think so, no.
How about you, Jean? Have you ever noticed any difference?
I haven't.
Neither have I, and that's a more, in my opinion, that more supports the fact that it's not spreading as much in classrooms as people think, because I see about the same amount, kind of regardless
what would be
of
interesting
who's
is
checking and who's not.
To find out how many children bring it in from enrollment.
Yeah.
And it could be that a lot of kids just come off the summer and just bring their bugs right with them into the classroom. So our reflection of our rates might not be any different than the community at large.
Right. Well, what was your experience at Fairfield? Did you find there was anything that made a difference classroom to classroom with spread?
No. It seemed like there was 1, maybe 2 in many of the classrooms, cases ongoing. No, I think educating parents and kids about what it is and what it isn't is important.
Okay.
So they can kind of let that go and move on with their lives.
So how are you feeling about head lice now, Chris? How about compared
Learning more all the
to
time.
compared to a couple weeks ago before you started being forced to do these trainings?
Force the opportunity.
Do you feel like you're more comfortable with what to do and how to approach families and then how to reach out for support?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I've
right.
learned
There's a lot of
more about it too, because there are a lot of myths out there, and then being part of this has helped me learn more about head
So you
lice
know
and
what you do need to worry about, what you don't need to worry about, and then you're free to go on and worry about new things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Chris the Spritz, and
Thank
Jean
you.
that still needs a. Can you give her a nickname? We need something for Jean.
Well, like Mean Jean, but that just doesn't fit Jean at all.
Clean
It doesn't-
Jean.
Clean
Jean.
There's
yeah,
that.
Clean
kind of
Jean.
boring.
Yeah, you do know a lot about alpha HP.
I dream of Jeannie. I dream of Jeannie.
Jeannie.
I would think we should dress you in I dream of Jeannie.
Oh no,
Oh,
That would
is
be-
way gone.
I'm gonna put her in front of a green screen with a little.
With a little pink puff of smoke.
Oh yeah. In fact, you could find her. We could do a whole bit.
No,
You
we're
could
not.
find her in the little bottle.
No.
You could be like the guy on.
No. Photoshop a little gene head in HP bottle.
You can find Alpha HP bottle and genes inside of it.
Because yeah, there are a lot of myths, and I still believe a lot of them. So
Yeah.
you know, letting parents know what you know about lice and what's been proven and what hasn't been proven, I think, is really important.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the spread? Do you think head lice can spread without head-to-head contact?
I've heard it can. It's hard for me to believe fully that it can't be spread. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
No, I get
know
that.
in full, when we have rest time, they're more likely to be spread because kids are down.
Right.
They could be really close to each other reading a book and stuff like that. But you've heard these myths so long
Yeah.
that okay, if a child has lice, remove the coats. Other kids go to school, don't put them in a pile.
Clean the whole house.
Clean
I
the
see
whole-
that a lot.
Yeah, clean the whole house.
And that's one that
Yeah.
I'd really like to get rid of, because I think that's what's so discouraging to families.
Yep.
If they buy into that whole idea that they have to clean the entire house, vacuum all the floors, most families do not have time for that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and what I like to get teachers to think about in our classrooms is if it spread in the way that they thought, every child would have head lice all the time. They just would. And because we don't clean our classrooms in the way that would get rid of every nit that could possibly have fallen off of a kid. So they don't spread the way people think. And it's really hard to break that, but we really would have a lot more head lice if it spread as easily as people think.
yes.
And so we see a lot of head lice, but that's because in the community there's a lot of head lice. And a lot of times people have head lice they can't get rid of within a home and within really close play groups. So, and siblings and kids, kids get really close at this age head to head in a way that they don't when they're older. So you'll see more spread in this age group. But
It's like you were telling me 2 weeks ago, they don't jump.
No.
yeah,
So.
but it feels like they do.
Yeah, it feels like they do. Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
don't. And they don't want to leave the host head they're
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
They have no desire to leave it. So I don't know how you approach that. I like to focus parents on how to get rid of it. Sometimes they get stuck in where it's coming from, but the point is they need to get rid of it. Preventative measures, there's a couple. Coating the hair heavily with hair gel helps prevent it. Little girls that keep their hair tight and close to their head can prevent it. And then parents doing checks at home and catching it just as soon as they can.
How about head checks in the Head Start classroom? Are there any firm rules on that, either of you?
Well, the policy
Yeah.
says to do them every day.
Yeah,
Typically,
it's
that's
not,
not
it's more of a
realistic.
suggestion.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's a requirement. Time is a real premium in the Head Start classroom. I think if there's reason to believe head lice is a problem, it's time to do head checks. If not, get on with your day.
Yeah, so what's your recommendation, Jean, for classrooms?
Well, my recommendation is not to obsess about it. If you have a child who's itching, scratching their head a lot, complaining, I think you should check, see if they have head lice.
And check the other children just so they're not singled out.
Yes,
Right?
so check
Yeah.
all the children. Don't say anything until you talk to the parents later on.